vlog, what's going on? I am currently getting ready to, meet my friend Jess at Spirit Halloween. And since this is a cozy fall vlog, I equate that to Halloween. I figured I might vlog some of it. And I just recently got over my fear of eyelash curlers. But I'm not very good at using them, so I also don't usually put on makeup to go to the store, but the whole reason we are going to Spirit Halloween is because we are volunteering at a Halloween event tomorrow where we will be dressing up as characters, and I will not say who because of the strike, but I am practicing how I'm gonna do my makeup for that because it's not quite how I usually do my makeup. And I need to practice. Okay, I'm in some better lighting now. Everyone who's ever been in my room agrees it's some of the most unflattering lighting, but I live with it. We live with unflattering lighting sometimes. I don't know what I'm saying. I just wanted to show you my makeup for this character. My cheeks are very rosy, but this characters are supposed to be. So I did a lot of blush, mascara, and then this red lip gloss because their lips are very tinted red. It doesn't look like they're necessarily wearing red lipstick. It just looks like they have very pigmented lips. So I think this is pretty good. I'm not gonna say what character because of the strike. You might be able to guess. So, but sometimes, you know, you feel a little silly going out with really rosy cheeks because you're supposed to be a character, but you're not dressed like the character. But you have to be silly in life sometimes. Sometimes you just gotta embrace that. Be weird, be yourself. I don't know why I decided to put an inspirational message in this intro, but I was thinking about it, and I like being silly. So if my silly levels get too low, I'll die. Look, it's the Wikipedia. That's funny.
How is that a costume? That's what I would wear daily. I'm a little offended.
They made you into a costume. This is me, except I'd wear it longer so it's more accurate to, you know, fantasy dresses. And that one's Jess.
French fairy.
Someone tell me why the priest looks like Edward Cullen. Can someone tell me why the transition from car to house is so hard? It's the same as the transition from bed to not in bed. Just this human thing of having to transition from place to place all the time. It's difficult, I'm gonna be honest. It's difficult. This is kind of random, but it's inspired by the video I made the other day where I was also with a car and I mentioned my silly levels. And so I'm making a D&D character right now for a campaign that's not happening for a little bit, but we're all kind of getting everything together at the moment. And I know I want to be a wood elf. I don't know about class yet. I'm thinking about druid, but I've been thinking a lot about the character itself, their background. The light just turned off, but that's fine. And I want them to be whimsical and romantic, and they can't be too serious. They have to be able to make comedic quips. And I realize that's because I have to be able to do that. If someone says something and I can riff off of it, if I can make a joke at some point, I have to be able to do that. I think it would be fun to play a very serious or ostentatious character because I was considering that for a while, just to do something different than the way that I am. But I just realized I can't not make a joke when given the opportunity. For example, Jess's parents, my friend Jess, her parents, she was in this vlog already, they were showing me a picture of a really big apple. And I said, is that New York? Because it's a big apple. Because I couldn't not. How could I not say that? I have to make bad puns. I have to be able to riff off people. I have to make little comedic quips. Like I said, it's in my blood. If I can't do it, I will simply perish. I have to be silly. So yeah, so that's my commentary on that for some reason. So I just finished reading this historical romance that I picked up at a used book sale. I've done a couple hauls from used book sales. I go to them when I can. If you haven't seen those videos, I'll link them down below. But what I wanted to say is this book is cute. It's not bad, But I don't think historical romance is going to be one of my top genres. I thought it might be up there because I like Bridgerton and Queen Charlotte, and I love Jane Austen. I mean, obviously there's a difference between Jane Austen and historical romances, being that Jane Austen is from the time. She lived through it, whereas this is someone who didn't and is just romanticizing the Regency era, and that's fine if that's what they're into. Just for me, I think, I mean, I already knew fantasy romance is my favorite genre, and I even like just fantasy on its own. If it has a romance subplot, I like that too. But what I wanted to say about this is it didn't quite capture me as much as fantasy does, because I love the intricacies of fantasy worlds and they tend to get me right off the bat. Whereas this, I was pretty invested towards the end though. At the end, I was like, okay, what's gonna happen? Are they getting married or not? Because that's always what these are about. But, so, I don't know, I'm just a sucker for magic and a sucker for love. And then when you put those together in fantasy romance, it's perfect. And I love a balance of both, but I'll get into that. I have a future video where I'm gonna get into that, so subscribe and stay tuned for that. So basically what I wanted to go into is, if you like smut, because I know so many people on the internet do, these books always have them. They always do, and I think they're written in a very sophisticated way. I'm not gonna go too far into that because I'm gonna piss some people off, but I think they're pretty well written. Oh, this is what else I wanted to say. I was sitting here trying to think about what I wanted to say. I'm excited because now that I've finished that, I am going to read, I'm holding it upside down, Percy Jackson, The Chalice of the Gods. Forgot the name for a second. I'm super excited, and I'm gonna do a whole video on this because I think I was about, I don't know how old I was when they were coming out. I was like 11 when the last one came out, and I think that I started reading them right before the last, no. I don't know if I started, I will do my research on this before I make the video on this, but I know at least the last one wasn't out when I started reading them, and I started reading them because my brother had read them and he told me to read them. And then I'll tell this story in the video about when I read this book. So subscribe for that too. But that's so exciting because I'm almost 26 now. I read these when I was like 11, and it's crazy because I felt like, I mean, I wasn't really growing up with Percy because I didn't start reading it when I was young enough, when the first ones were coming out. But now it's like, oh, I grew up, and he sort of did too. He's only in college now. He should be older because he was older than me, but I understand, Rick Riordan, it took you over a decade to come out with this one. I didn't read all of the spin-off series. I read a couple of those books. I think my brother also stopped reading those too, and it wasn't because they were bad, it was just I was getting older and I would think I was losing my interest in Percy Jackson. No offense, my guy. Maybe I'll get back into it and I'll jump back into that series after I read this. I don't know, I'll talk more about that in the video about this, but I'm very excited to read it because it's gonna be fun. I saw the Percy Jackson musical. I remember, I have to tell these stories in the video. I can't spoil them all, but I have some fun stories about that time, and it was like my hyperfixation at the time. When I was in middle school, it was the one good thing about middle school. But also, because this is hardback, it made me think of a short I posted recently where I talk about how I don't take the covers off. A lot of people like to take the covers off, and I understand because they do get in the way when I'm reading it, and so I understand the annoyance with that. And what is this girl doing over here? And I just hate the texture of this part of the book. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. I'm such a texture person, and I genuinely, it makes my skin feel like it's gonna fall off. There was one time where a 6-year-old said that he didn't like the texture of cotton balls, but I was a little confused when he was telling me this because he said it made his brain feel weird. And then I was like, wait, he said something about it makes my brain feel weird, and I was worried he was having like an allergic reaction or something. And so, but then he said just when I touch it, I feel, my brain feels weird. And I was like, oh, it's a texture thing. That makes complete sense. I completely understand what you're saying, because whenever I touch a texture I don't like, my brain also feels weird. So, that's just a side tangent I decided to go on. But, so yeah, so I don't take the dust jacket off. And another thing is, I get a lot of used books, so this isn't always applicable, but when I do get new books, if there's a hardback and it's feasible and I can get that hardback, I tend to, and this is another topic I'm going to go into in a later video that I have planned. I have quite a few book videos planned out, so if you like the book content, subscribe for that. I don't pay attention to how I'm holding a book. I'm not an aesthetic reader. I just never have been, never will be. Like I said, I buy used books, so it's never, like, my bookshelf is never going to look perfect, and I'm totally fine with that. But because I don't pay attention to how I'm holding a book when I read it, I am scared of completely destroying it. I did pick up one of my dad's books the other day to film a short with, just because it was the closest, and the spine fell off. And I was like, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. it had to have been ruined before. That was not me. And I don't want that to happen to any of my books, because I do like to go back and reread things. And I mean, I guess you can tape it together and stuff, but so yeah, I don't really know. The point of this was just to say that I'm excited to read this and dive back into this world and subscribe to watch me do that. And just all this fall is such a good time for reading. Summer's fine for reading. I can sit outside a little bit more in the summer. No, I can't. I hate the bugs. I hate the warmth. Why am I lying? I don't like going outside in the summer. It's too hot. The fall is the perfect time for me to go outside. But it's been a pretty rainy fall, so I haven't been reading outside or anything. So I read a lot before bed anyway, because of my schedule right now, because of work and everything. So I didn't have time to get a new Halloween costume to figure that out. Hold on, let me just crouch in front of the mirror real quick so I can talk. So I am just wearing this cosplay I've done before. It's just like a fantasy cosplay. So that's what I'm doing for Halloween. I know. It's really fun.